Week 5 on the journey to the new 1%. So I worked on creating content and my virtual assistant was editing the content. On the sober living side of things, I reached out to a few more private money partners. I followed up on a reaffirmed verbal commitment from a individual private money partner. So we're closing in on those potential partnerships. I also took steps to legitimize my business so that we qualify for business financing, which will help me close on properties as well. I automated emails for the consulting side of the business and will send them out starting this week. This is a quicker cash flow play so that I can pay my virtual assistant more and automate lead gen on the real estate side of things. My virtual assistant made a website for my sober living stuff, and she started sending out emails to sober living operators for the consulting side of the business too. That's what my week on the journey to the new 1% looks like. What about yours? Comment below and let me know. So now is the part where I dive in a little bit deeper into my journey to the new 1%. And so basically I created content this week. That's really what the weeks are gonna look like because, to be frank, the new 1% is not bringing in cash flow. The overall vision for it is to one day have a community of entrepreneurs that we will build to 800,000. Everybody in that community will be making at least $2 million per year in profit. They'll donate $1 million a year into this endowment, and we'll use the profits of that endowment to create impact together. And we'll operate that endowment, and each person will be responsible for personally impacting 10,000 people over the course of their life. That's the vision. Right now, it looks like creating content, getting that information out there while I execute on the business side of things, specifically with sober living. And then as I improve my cash flow, I'll be able to put more money behind the brand, get some people to help me plan content, get some people to help me edit and push out content a bit more so that it is well aligned with what the market wants. Somebody who's an expert at that. I do it. I've done it consistently now for 1.5 to 2 years, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert at it. Now, that's on the content side of things. On the course outline, which is the freebie for people who sign up for the newsletter. Obviously, the newsletter isn't going strong right now. Not only has nobody signed up, but I really haven't been advertising it. My vision for that is to have my virtual assistant or another virtual assistant I get as the consulting side of the sober living operation makes money. I will have people shooting out DMs to accounts that follow entrepreneurs like Cody Sanchez, Derek Fay, Alex Hormozy, and it'll tell them, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we want to invite you to. Here's a freebie if you want to get on the email list to learn more. And that'll be a valuable newsletter that sends out content and all that good stuff. But we'll be shooting out DMs to grow that, and then we'll have a share component to grow that newsletter. And that's kind of how the advertising will work. But we need the course outline because we need a really good freebie. Something that people would pay for, in the words of Alex Hormozy, that will get them to join the newsletter. And when they join the newsletter, of course, you give them the freebie. That is the course outline. I want this course to be valuable and potent and have tricks, tips, and strategies that I'm using to not only grow my sober living side of my business right now, but also what I will be using to buy and sell businesses down the road. So that's what the course outline is going to be, and it's going to be an ever updating course outline that people who subscribe to the email newsletter have, but we'll probably also release it to the public. Regardless, that's what I was supposed to be outlining, and I haven't been doing it because we're pausing on that advertising. And we're pausing on the advertising because it's not bringing in the cash flow. Because for it to bring in the cash flow, you need a ton of people to watch. You need to be able to guide people through the business buying process. You need to build out that community. And that's just not what the focus is right now. The focus is building the foundation of content, being consistent with that. That's a promise I made to myself 1.5, 2 years ago. So I'm going to keep being consistent with the content as I get the cash flow to start really, building out this side of the business. So what's bringing in the cash flow? It's sober living. So working on that private money list, I went on this website, dealcentral.io, which is really helpful for people in PACE's sub-2 community. And it is just great for finding deals, finding private money. There's a directory of private money lenders on there that you can reach out to them and start to build relationships. Of course, you don't just text them upon initially texting them and upon initially meeting them and get the money you need, but you can build relationships with these people. You can keep them updated on what you're doing and what your projects are doing. And so through PACE's community, I was introduced to that website. Through that website, I found a directory of private money lenders, and those people can connect me to others. And so you just have a whole slew of people, a whole slew of money out there ready to buy deals. And so feeling really good about building the private money list out, and I just need to make those touches, shoot those text messages out, and circle back on relationships I already have, because I mentioned earlier in the show that there was a reaffirmed verbal commitment. He called me at the beginning of this week and he said, hey, I'm getting money back from a flip, and when I get that money back, I will hit you up because we can close a sober living deal together. Need to follow up with him and be like, hey, did you get the money? Where you at on this? Like, let's make this happen. Now, I was also building business credit, and I'm doing that because if I can close 1 or 2 properties and start getting the cash flow coming in from a sober living property I'm operating, that's really cool. And I have an asset, and now that asset is producing cash flow. So that's really what I'm trying to do. Just get the momentum going, and learn the operations so that I can commit to it, smooth out the process, and start to scale. So I've been building my private money partner list this past week, and that really looked like following up with people on my list and then finding a good source from Deal Central IO. Building my business credit by legitimizing my business. And then as I grow my business credit, as I get that access to $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, I'll start buying 1 or 2 properties, use that cash flow to, of course, pay down the business credit, but then also grow the sober living operation. Now, for the consulting side of things, this is really an immediate cash flow play that A, will help me buy assets and operate them as sober living, but B, will get me experience through consulting with this offer I have, because in Austin, 1 bed in a sober living property might be $1,000. For an average home, $800 for a cheaper home. And that's all good and dandy, but I more want to be in that boutique sober living home, or the just unique sober living home that's charging a higher price because it's providing more value. Insert $100 million offers. I want to be priced above the market. There are sober living homes that charge $2,200, $3,000 per bed. So can I charge $5,000 per bed? Can I provide enough value, and can the clientele support it for me to charge $5,000 per bed? Like, that's kind of how I'm trying to think. My first goal is really $1,500 and really $2,500, but $1,000 of that would go towards community investing, which would help me buy more businesses, buy more sober living properties, and they would get a cut of that and ownership in that, which would solidify their financial future and be proof of concept for what I'm talking about here on the New 1% podcast. But all that being said, the consulting side is immediate cash flow and get me experience through consulting and help me buy more sober living properties. And so we're sending out emails for that, and it's really testing out that offer. That will be $1,500 and will help me with, just kind of business in general. It'll be proof of concept for the New 1%. It'll be more cash flow to buy more cash flow. And once you get the cash flow rolling in, and I'm promoting the podcast and I'm scaling the sober living, that's really where I want to be, because I'll hit that financial freedom point, and then I'll be able to build a community of people going towards that $800,000. So I got a little crazy there, but basically on the sober living side of things, I built the private money partner list this week and found a better source to do it. So I followed up with the list I had built and found the source that will help me build it out very simply, so I can just contact those people. I worked on legitimizing my business so that I could receive business credit, which would help me buy sober living assets, which would help me cash flow, which would help me scale. And some of that marketing would, of course, that cash flow would go into the podcast to market it, get it out there, and start building that community of 800,000 entrepreneurs. Then the consulting side of things, we sent out emails, we got the list, I got my VA doing that, and I'm automating it. It's an immediate cash flow play that will help me A, acquire sober living properties, B, get experience with an offer that will improve cash flow in my own operations, and then C, help me market, pay my VA more, and automate lead generation for the real estate side of the business. That's the deep dive into my week with the New 1%. I would love to talk with you guys about what your week is looking like, see how I can help you out if there's anything I can do. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And remember, we are a community of people, judged not by our wealth, but by our impact.